Hello and welcome to the Brian Hornback Experience. This is episode 138. It's been a while. Not quite. Last time we had 137 was on September the 24th. Sorry about that. It's East Tennessee. It's turned cold. It is what it is. It is currently October the 17th. It's the night before early vote. For those of you in the city of Knoxville. Those of you in the city of Knoxville, early vote starts tomorrow, October the 18th, runs through November 2nd. You know what that means? General election is on November the 7th, which means we're really close to Christmas and we're really close to the end of 2023, which means we're getting closer to 2024, which means Super Tuesday is fast approaching. Let's talk about the city first. Mayor Kincannon won more than 50% plus one on August 29th. She will not be on the ballot November 7th. She will not be on the ballot when you go to early voting tomorrow, October the 18th. Charles Thomas in District 5 City Council. He was unopposed in the primary. He's going to be unopposed again when you go, for those of you in District 5, which is Fountain City and that kind of north, that North Knoxville area. He's still going to be unopposed. If you like the work he's done, give him a complimentary vote. If you don't like the work he's done, not much you can do because none of you chose to challenge him. City Council District 1, at-large Seat A. Out of that primary with Darren Worsham, Cameron Brooks, and Lynn Fugit, the incumbent, the top two vote getters were Lynn Fugit, the City Council woman for the last 4 years, and Cameron Brooks. Unfortunately, on about the 31st of August, or maybe September 1st, sometime between the 31st and the 1st, unfortunately, Cameron Brooks passed away. Lynn Fugit will be on the ballot unopposed. She has not campaigned, I believe, out of respect for the family of Cameron Brooks. She did appear at a candidate forum last night, but that's the first campaign event I've seen her participate in since Cameron passed away. I think that shows a lot of class. Let me back up. I know of two events she participated in. She participated in an event at Albright Grove Brewery on Sutherland Avenue, and she participated in the League of Women Voter Forum last night. Two events since Cameron Brooks passed away. I think that shows a lot of class on Lynn Fugit. I mean, she knows that she's unopposed, but you know, out of respect, I think that she has handled what I don't know that any of us in politics for as many years as I've been involved, which is 41 years now, has ever seen. We've had individuals that have passed away, but not necessarily at the age of Cameron Brooks, not necessarily by the disease that took Cameron. It wasn't the disease that took Cameron's life. It was the infection from what's been reported from the disease that Cameron had that took his life. So Lynn Fugit will be on the ballot unopposed. That leaves those of you in the city of Knoxville with three races. That leaves you with the Knoxville Municipal Judge, which is Judge John Rosen, who has been the judge for 36 years, facing a 31-year-old challenger. You have the City Council at-large C race, which pits at-large City Councilwoman Amelia Parker against Knoxville Planning Chairman and also a member of the Sports Authority, Tim Hill. Parker and Hill for at-large seat C. Matthew Best was another candidate for seat C. He, like Darren Worsham, didn't make it into the runoff, right? And then in seat B, there were not three people running for seat B. There were two people. There was R. Bentley Marlowe, a guy who has become a friend of mine over the last 8 weeks. A guy that I'd heard about a lot, who has done a lot of residential building, particularly in Mechanicsville area, particularly in the inner city. I say inner city, Mechanicsville, you know, that old Knoxville College area. He's taken older houses, turned them into newer houses, rental properties. Has really spent his life in that work. A guy who, when you look at him, you think Bentley Marlowe, the guy with the ponytail, who's a builder. But Bentley Marlowe is far more than that. He is an educated lawyer, graduated law school, passed the bar, but chose not to pursue the legal profession. Decided to take what those of us that grew up in East Knox County that now live in West Knox County for the last 20 years, well, more than that now, what we would call blighted properties, and took them from blighted to good, high quality rental properties. That's what Bentley's done. Now, in our current housing environment, you can criticize that. And I have friends who criticize that, and that's perfectly fine, okay? But I have become friends with Bentley over the last several weeks, and believe him to be a man who, one, has invested in Knoxville for more than 20 years. And when I say invested, I mean he's invested in the fact that he's bought properties, he's improved properties, he's built houses and apartments, residential units in Knoxville, which has helped the economy in Knoxville. And we'll talk more about his opponent in a minute. But those are your three races: municipal judge, at-large seat C, at-large seat B. Throw a vote for my friend Lynn Fugit on seat A. She's a good woman. She has high morals. There's times when Lynn was on the school board that I didn't agree with her. She knows that. Those of you that have followed my blog, brianhornback.com, know that in the last 19 years, there's been times when I've disagreed with people. There's been times when I've agreed with people. End of the day, Lynn Fugit always did what she thought was right for her and right for the people she represented. On the school board, she represented those folks in the 4th School Board District, which was primarily Sequoia Hills, Rocky Hill, that inner part of West Knoxville. And now she represents all of Knoxville. I think that she and Janet Testerman and Amelia Parker for the last 4 years have really worked to represent the districts or the people of Knoxville to the best of their ability. So Janet Testerman, let's talk about Janet for just a minute. Janet has served for the last 4 years on the at-large City Council seat B, right? And has done a phenomenal job. Janet Testerman, too, is a friend of mine. Unfortunately, everybody in politics, you're going to hear me say, is a friend of mine. Because for the most part, I try to get along with everybody, for the most part. If for some reason I don't get along with somebody, there's probably a reason for that. Either A, we're never going to come to agreement on an issue. And and that's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, it's okay. But Janet Testerman was on city council for the last 4 years. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, she ran for state representative. Unfortunately, the state representative at that time waited to the last minute to announce that he was going to be a one-termer and wasn't going to run again. And Janet didn't have much time to prepare. Her opponent, on the other hand, had been preparing for quite a while, and her opponent had been running for quite a while. And so Janet came up short. Janet's opponents will say that, it was overwhelmingly, it was a landslide, whatever. End of the day, Janet Testerman has a real job, and that real job is being CEO of Young Williams Animal Center. For those of you that don't know, in Knoxville and Knox County, Tennessee, we have really two animal shelters in the Knox County area. We have Young Williams, and we have Tennessee Valley Humane Society. And Young Williams is the one that the county kind of makes as their animal shelter. In the next year or 6 months to a year, the Sheriff's Department Animal Control is going to wind up in-house with the Young Williams Animal Center. It's a multi-million-dollar operation, and an operation that involves not only animals, but it involves many people's lives. And so Janet Testerman made the decision, I think after that state, this is not something Janet Testerman told me, but just from my observance, she made the decision that politics has probably become too toxic. And so Young Williams' work is critically important to the safety of animals. My own dog, who is now over 10 years old, has been with us now for over 10 years, came from Young Williams. He was actually born in Young Williams Animal Center. So they do great work. I don't want to leave this aspect of the Brian Hornback Experience, episode 138, without saying that there's another animal shelter in East Tennessee. It's called the Blount County Animal Center, where I've done some volunteer work, and they do great work. Why would I go to Blount County Animal Center versus Young Williams? I can get to Blount County Animal Center quicker from my home than I can get to Young Williams. It's just facts. I can get there in about 8 minutes. It takes me a little bit longer than that to get to Young Williams. Young Williams has a couple of different centers. They have one on Bearden Hill, and they have one in their original spot over near Division Street and Southern Avenue near John Tarleton Fields. So if you're looking for an animal, if you're needing an animal, go there. If you're needing to surrender an animal, I hate that for you. I can't imagine giving up an animal. But if you need to surrender one, do all you can and work with the folks at Young Williams to keep that animal. There are resources and there's things that are available so that you can keep that animal and not have to surrender it. But at the end of the day, animals are important. And my own animal right now is really important. But anyway, so that's Janet Testerman. I said I'd just take a few minutes. It took longer than a few minutes. But Bentley Marlowe and Debbie Helsley are running for that seat. And Bentley is a guy who's invested in the problems of Knoxville. We have problems in Knoxville with housing, with the lack of availability of housing. Bentley's been providing housing through redevelopment of properties redevelopment of properties, and he's been doing the good work. Debbie Helsley is an individual who has been a union organizer. She's been a Democrat Party leader in the city of Knoxville, being a Democrat Party leader, being secretary of the party, being the secretary to the Democrat Party chairman is a good thing in the city of Knoxville. But that is who Debbie Helsley is. She is a labor union organizer with the Communication Workers of America. That's where she retired from. She is the secretary of the Knox County Democrat Party. She is the secretary to their chairman. She is, that's it. When asked at the East Knoxville Business and Professional Association about the job of city council person, she said she didn't know. This is a person who got 45% of the vote for county mayor last year in 2022. Think about that. Somebody who got 45% of the vote to Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs in 2022 said she didn't know the job of city council at the East Knox Business and Professional Association meeting, which was held at Chowie Park. She got 45% of the vote to be the top executive of Knox County, which is greater than just Knoxville, right? Okay, so that's Debbie Helsley, that's Bentley Marlowe. That's what it is. Seat C, and we'll come back to Debbie Helsley. Seat C is with City Councilwoman Amelia Parker and Tim Hill. From a advertising perspective, Tim Hill advertised on brianhornback.com in the primary. Amelia Parker has advertised in the general. Amelia Parker has asked the questions of the city administration, of city council. Again, she's not always known as the friendliest face on city council, but she does. I don't think that my understanding is she doesn't view her position as to be friendly with the administration or the council. She asks the questions that she believes represents the people that she was elected to represent. City council, all the city elections this year are nonpartisan. And they're going to be that way for a while. Next year, or 2 years, is going to change a little bit in the fact that when you run in a district race, which right now you have 4 city council races, only one of them's a district. The rest of them are at large. In 2 years, when they run in all 5 district races, you're going to have runoff in only that district. You're going to have a primary where you select the top 2 in each district, and then only that district will select the top 1 in the general, or what we call the runoff. Not necessarily going to partisan races at this point, but I'm sure that's in the scope or the view of the legislature, which can determine how the city operates its elections. So we've talked about both Amelia Parker and Tim Hill, both solid candidates. Amelia, again, representing her constituency. Tim Hill, again, in it for the right reasons, I believe. At the end of the day, it's going to be a close race. The other close race is going to be municipal judge. Judge John Roslin has been on the bench for 36 or 37 years. His opponent has only been on this earth for 31 years. So for the first 5 years that Judge Roslin was on the bench, his opponent wasn't even born. Look, in 1990, I was 23 years old and I ran for county commission. I know what it is to be the young guy that's trying to take out the old guy, because the guy that I ran against in 1990 was elected in August of 1966, the month I was born. So I get it. But at the end of the day, you have to present yourself with respect. Here's what I really want to say in this 138th episode of the Brian Hornback Experience. When you're the majority party, or the super majority party as the Republican Party is, sometimes you get into fights that some of us in the party might not want you to get in. It's been a struggle as a Republican who got started in 1982 when I was 16 years old, because we weren't the majority party. We weren't the majority party until about 2004. So from 1982, when I first got involved in politics, my first campaign was Robin Beard for U.S. Senate. He was a challenger to Jim Sasser. Until about 2004, I was a member of the minority party in the state of Tennessee. In 2004, somewhere in that range, we became the majority party. Thin, razor thin margin of a majority party. And State Senator Tim Burchett at that time voted with his colleague Mike Williams from Union County and put Democrat John Wilder in as lieutenant governor instead of Ron Ramsey. That's in the history books. And I was Republican Party chairman in 2005. So I kind of had to deal with that from 2005 to 2007. I was on the school board from 2004 to 2000 to 2004. I was Republican Party chairman from 2005 to 2007. All of that, I would like to say, was in my 30s. I'm in my 50s now. It's been 18 years since I was elected party chairman. So 22 years since I was elected school board. Anyway, to say all that, now here we are as the majority party in Washington, razor thin margin. And we had 8 Congress folks that voted out Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. Today, Jim Jordan lost the speakership. Tomorrow, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to be nominated? Who knows who's going to get it? Who knows if it's going to take 15 votes like it did for Kevin McCarthy? End of the day, if you're a Democrat in the minority party in Washington and you see the opportunity to team up with 8 Republicans who, for whatever reason, want to kick McCarthy out, whether it's personal, whether it's philosophical, whether it's ego, you're going to do it if you're in the minority party, because you want to make the other party look bad, right? At least that's my thought, right? Anyway, here's what I want to say at the end of this 138th episode of the Brian Hornback Experience. Bentley Marlowe's opponent last year ran for Knox County mayor against Glenn Jacobs. She got 45% of the vote. When she ran in the primary for City Council at-large seat B, she got more votes than Mayor India Kincannon. Now, India Kincannon had 3 opponents. India Kincannon still got more than enough to not be on the ballot on November 7th or October 18th through November 2nd and November 7th. I said to someone last night who's a former council member, won't name him, I said, you think the Democrats really planned that, to run Debbie Helsley as a candidate for county mayor, to get her name ID up so that she could ultimately get city council? we both kind of laughed. And it's not just that person I spoke to about that over the last several weeks. Been several people, and everyone has said, you're giving them way too much credit. You're giving them way too much credit. Had another conversation with a gentleman today who's a member of my party. And I said the same thing, and he said, I've thought that for a while now. And his thought is that the Democrat Party is intentional, and that maybe they knew that John Rosin's opponent was a long shot when they started in February or March. Maybe they thought, we'll run him and then build his name ID, and then we'll run him for something else. They've muddied him up. They've muddied the judge up pretty well. I'll give them that. I don't think Judge deserves everything that's been thrown at him. I don't think that all that the political base that has been against Judge is deserving of what's being thrown at Judge. End of the day, there's going to be 2 and probably 3 close races. Judge Rosin and his opponent are going to be close, I think. Amelia Parker and Tim Hill, I think, are going to be close. And I think Bentley Marlowe and his opponent are going to be close. I think all 3 of those are going to be close. Now, in the primary, 16,683, give or take 10 or 12, are going to vote in that race. Or voted in the race in the primary. It's probably going to be 8,000 to 10,000, I would think, in the general election. Follow BrianHornback.com. I'll give you the daily numbers as they come in every day, every morning. As the numbers come in, I'll give you those numbers. Follow along with me every day. That qualifying petitions for the March 5th, 2024 Knox County and presidential primary, as those come in every day, I'm continuing to update those. I think I've finally figured out a good system for updating those on a daily basis. But check in with me. I think the city elections are going to be, I think all 3 races are going to be close. I think it's going to be critically important that those of you that believe that John Rosin has done a good job in handling citations that have no more than a $50 fine, who has treated people with dignity, respect. If every one of you will go out and find 10, 15, or 20, yes, Senator Massey, I'm stealing your fine 10. Then if you'll find 10, 15, or 20 individuals in the city that vote, then Judge Rosin will win and will get to serve 4 years. The job of municipal judge should not be something that is learned through on-the-job experience. Think about that. The job of municipal judge should not be learned through on-the-job experience. His opponent has worked in the public defender's office and has worked in private practice. Does he know everything that comes with being a municipal judge? I don't think so. It's my opinion. Is he ready on day one? I don't think so. It's my opinion. On seat B with Bentley Marlowe, B for Bentley, Bentley is ready to be the next city councilman. I'm going to leave it up to you on seat C. Again, Amelia Parker, Tim Hill, both are good friends. And I don't think you go wrong either way necessarily. But I'm going to leave that up to you. But Knoxville, you've got a decision. It starts tomorrow, October the 18th, runs through November 2nd. Go to knoxvotes.org. Go to brianhornback.com. We'll keep you updated on all the early voting sites, all the early voting statistics. Get out and vote. Look, as Winfield done when he became the first Republican elected governor of the state of Tennessee since Reconstruction, when he announced his candidacy, he said, support me if you can, oppose me if you must, but above all, participate. I've used that quote. I've seen Governor Winfield done many, many times, and I've told him, Governor, I've used that quote over and over and over. Support me if you can, oppose me if you must, but above all, participate. Whether you agree with Bentley Marlowe, Judge John Rosin, Tim Hill, Amelia Parker, whether you support them, whether you oppose them, whatever you must do, do it, but participate. The problem in Knoxville and Knox County is this: not enough people vote. Not enough people are registered to vote. You need, if you live in this community, if you rent, if you pay a mortgage, if you own property, it's incumbent upon you in the 14 days of early voting that you go vote. I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you disagree with me. What I do care is that you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. That's all I care about. I'll defend my friends and those that I support for public office. I expect you to do the same if you disagree with me. But I expect you to participate. And I want you to participate. Because if I lose, I lose. Guess what? The sun comes up tomorrow. All right. Y'all have a good night. This is Tuesday, October 17th. It is the 138th episode of the Brian Hornback Experience. I'm not going to make the promise I've made to y'all a million times that I'm going to do this more regular. See that right there? It's Cameron Sexton. He's your speaker. He is the Speaker of the House for the Republicans in the State House. He's a friend of mine. Known that dude since 1998. You know what? You can like him. You can dislike him. He knows that there's times I agree with him. There's times I disagree with him. End of the day, he and I can still walk away after he said his piece and I've said my piece, and we're still friends. What happened to that? We'll talk about that on another episode of the Brian Hornback Experience.